Hi guys, welcome back to Empower Tutorials. This is your master teacher, Dr. Sonam. How y'all doing, guys? Yes, so finally we have completed plant physiology. A little bit boring, little bit something that that we don't really come across in our day-to-day life. Plants are absorbing water, roots are absorbing water. So I mean, we don't really come in across those things in our day-to-day life. Photosynthesis, yes, of course, it's really important because photosynthesis happens, we are breathing, right? So yes, it is important as well, but yes, like, we all find it a little boring. But then the best part now is that we are jumping to human physiology. Now we are going to find human physiology interesting because it has something to do with our body, right? I mean, it is so interesting that the facts we learn that oh my god, so many things happen in our body while we are doing any kind of activity. You're sleeping, you're eating, you're running, you're gymming, you're studying, you're dancing, any kind of activity that you're doing, there are certain processes in our body that are continuously happening, right? So that is something interesting. I'm sure you all are going to learn it, love it while you're learning it. Me personally, I love human physiology. So yes, let's get started. Just give me a minute. I'll share screen and we will continue. Okay. So guys, the first part of human physiology for us is the circulatory system. Okay. So let's see what circulatory system has. Now, when we're talking about the circulatory system, one thing that comes in our mind is the heart. Right, circulation चल रहा है हमारी बॉडी में, हार्ट के थ्रू चल रहा है. Now we know it's the blood that is getting circulated all throughout our body, top to toe, right? So now let's see what all different things we get to learn in the circulatory system, and also what all interesting facts we come to know that we probably might have never imagined of, or we might have never thought ki, oh my god, something like this also happens. So yes, let's get started. Do it now, sometimes later becomes never, right? So this is as good as saying procrastination is the thief of time. So basically it just means that we keep postponing things. We keep saying that let's do this later, let's keep this for later, ye baad mein kar lete hain. But sometimes it happens that we get so busy and involved and indulged in all other kind of activities ki jo postpone karne ke liye rakhi thi cheez, we never do it. So when we keep some things for later, it sometimes becomes never. We never reach there, or we are not able to complete those things, right? So it's just that don't postpone things. Jo lagta hai abhi kar sakte hain, abhi kar lo. Don't keep it for later. Okay, it's like kal bhi karna hai, aaj bhi karna hai, so better do it now, right? Okay, now chalo, let's go ahead. So yes, the most important thing is don't keep postponing chapters. Ye wala chapter baad mein kar lenge. No, don't do that. Do it now. Okay, chalo, continue. Yes. Now, circulatory system basically is going to be classified, or say broadly classified, into 2 or 3 headings. What are the 3 different things that are a part of the circulatory system? Now, first thing is the fluids. When we say there is a lot of blood in our body, does that mean like our skeleton is just full of blood, just like a vessel full of water? No, right? In our body, the skeleton, inside our body, the muscle mass, everything, it consists of small vessels जिसके अंदर blood होता है. Okay, and those are known as blood vessels. Next thing is heart. Okay, now the foremost and the most important thing about the circulatory system is our heart. So these are basically the 3 important categories, or say parts of a circulatory system. We'll be studying them one by one. What is blood? Okay, we just know there's a lot of blood. Kuch injury hota hai, kuch cut hota hai, there is bleeding. What is blood? But what exactly is it? Okay, so it's basically a fluid, right? Like we said, there are a lot of fluids in our body. So blood is one of those fluids, and it is a fluid connective tissue. Okay, it's a tissue basically. So it's a fluid connective tissue. Now, how much of blood is present? How much of blood is present in every human being, right? So it is about 5 to 6 liters in our entire body, the amount of blood that is present. Okay, now how does it taste? Okay, so it tastes slightly saltish. Now I'm sure all of you all have tasted your own blood. Whenever we have a small cut or something, we quickly put it in our mouth and just try to absorb it, or just try to stop that and give it pressure. So yeah, the taste of the blood is slightly saltish. Yes. Color. Yes, tell me, what is the color? Now when we talk about color of the blood, So it is bright red. Okay, bright red. Now see, if you all can see in this picture, थोड़ा सा change you can make out. ये पूरा जो है ये bright red है, ठीक है, और ये जो है ना यहाँ पे जो cells दिख रहे हैं, these are probably dark red cells, ठीक है. So मतलब dark red cells which are having that blood. So there is bright red color which is present in the arteries of the blood, and the color of the blood is dark red when it is present in the veins. Now you must have seen whenever we draw pictures of arteries and veins, so we basically use two colors. We use the red and the blue color. When we use the blue color for veins, that does not mean that the blue color in the veins is blue. No, it's not blue. Okay, we use red and blue just for combination purpose ki alag alag hum make out kar sake that this is the artery and this is a vein. Okay, it has nothing to do with the blue color. Okay, so color of the blood in the arteries is bright red and in the veins it is dark red. Okay, now what is the function of blood? Blood hai to sahi itna sara body mein, but how is it helping us? So it basically has two categories of functions that it plays for us. First one is the protection. Now how does it protect us? We'll see. And next is the transport. Now किस चीज का वो transport करता है? We'll see that too. Okay, now coming to protective features. First one, formation of clot during any injury to the blood vessel. Okay, now if you have a cut, if you just got a cut with something that you're doing, so वो cut heal कैसे होता है, या वो जो wound हो जाता है, you probably had an accident, you had a fall, and you had a injury. Okay, bleeding हुआ वहां से, an injury हो गया, वो heal कैसे होता है, right? So slowly that blood tissue starts forming over there again. तो ये blood tissue का जो formation हो रहा है वापस से, that is because of the clotting. Okay, so blood is only helping us to clot over there, and then the injury gets healed. Okay, so that is formation of clot. Next is phagocytosis. Now what is phagocytosis? Cytosis has something to do with cells. Phago means eating up. Okay, now see, have a look at this GIF. See what is happening now. See, ये जो है ना छोटा सा part जो यहाँ दिख रहा है, this part is probably, you can say, the bacteria, and these are the blood cells which is running behind that bacteria to engulf it or to just eat it up. ठीक है? So certain cells in the blood are playing this role of phagocytosis. That means जो bacteria होते हैं वो उनको engulf कर लेते हैं. Those blood cells will engulf those bacteria. You want to have a look at the video again? Just see. See, ये bacteria है और ये white blood cell है. Now we'll be studying more about the types of cells. So just for now, just remember the cells of the blood play this function of phagocytosis. Now see how it's going to engulf that bacteria. We'll take it inside itself. See, it's engulfed it. Okay, so that is how it's protecting us. Next is production of antitoxins and antibodies. Now, if we have a foreign particle that has entered our body, if there is a virus that has entered our body, so this blood, or say the cells in the blood, will help us form certain antitoxins or antibodies. Just say the antibodies will start fighting with that virus, and it will help us, or you can say it will protect us. These antibodies are going to protect us. So that is how blood is playing the protective feature. See, this is the formation of a clot. ये यहाँ clot form हो रहा है. ठीक है, यहाँ injury हुआ है, and the blood cells are all coming up together and forming a clot. Okay. Next thing is transportation features. अब blood किस चीज का transport करता है, ठीक है? So it does the transport of respiratory gases. Of course, oxygen, carbon dioxide का transport होता है. That all happens via the blood. Next is nutrient transport. All the nutrients that we have in our body, that we intake, उसका पूरा हमारे बॉडी को कैसे पहुंचता है न्यूट्रिएंट का ये जो है पोर्शन, राइट? सो इट रीचेस वाया द ब्लड. ब्लड इज हेल्पिंग इन ट्रांसपोर्ट, excretory product transport and hormone transport. So these are basically the four important transport features which blood helps us in. Okay. Composition of blood. Yes, now what does blood exactly contain? Okay, so सबसे पहले blood contains plasma and blood contains cells. Okay, the two broadly classifications of the blood is plasma and cells. Plasma is again a fluid. Okay, 55 to 60% is plasma, and बचा हुआ 40 to 45% is the different types of cells that blood has. Okay, now what is plasma? Like I said, it's a fluid. It is a light yellow and an alkaline fluid. Again, it is alkaline. Now it contains water, organic and inorganic salts, and a lot of proteins. Okay, So now it basically contains sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate. Sodium carbonate and bicarbonate are the very common salts that plasma contains. And proteins, with it contains a lot of proteins, fibrinogen, this, that. There are n number of proteins which we will study in detail as we go ahead. For now, just remember it consists of water, organic and inorganic salts, and proteins. Okay. Now there is also something known as serum. Okay, what is serum? There are many hematology tests also that are performed where serum is used. Okay, so serum kya hota hai? Now we studied that plasma mein there are proteins. So ये plasma का जो liquid है उसमें से अगर हम fibrinogen protein निकाल देते हैं, then जो liquid बचता है that is the serum. Okay, so serum is plasma minus the fibrinogen protein. Okay, now what are the different types of cells? So blood will consist of 3 different types of cells. First one is the RBC, red blood corpuscles or red blood cells. Okay, they are also known as erythrocytes. Okay, next is WBC, white blood corpuscles or white blood cells, also known as leucocytes. And the last one is platelets. Okay, platelets also known as thrombocytes. Okay. Now see, these red ones that you see are the RBCs or the red blood cells, and these white ones are the white blood cells. Now we'll see how platelets look like when we go ahead. Okay, so to begin with, we'll see red blood cells, that is erythrocytes. Now, what kind of cells they are? See, can you see this? How it is? Right now, this is good. This is a magnified structure. We'll see how it is now. It is a minute. ये यहाँ पे magnified है इसलिए आपको ये बहुत बड़ा दिख रहा है, but it is not that big. Okay, they are very minute cells. Minute biconcave disc-like cells. ये यहाँ पे concavity दिख रहा है. ये same concavity is going to be on this side as well. Now see, when we usually draw this cell ना, तो ये cell actually कैसे draw करते हैं? I'll show you. This cell is usually drawn. Like this. So basically it will have a concavity here also and a concavity here also. Okay, it is, you can say, a kind of dumbbell shaped. Okay, not exactly dumbbell shaped, but kind of like this. Okay, next thing is minute biconcave disc-like cells. Like you can see, it is disc-like. Okay, patla hai. It is flat in the center and bulging at the periphery. Flat in the center, as we can see, and it is bulging in the sides or in the periphery or in the margins. And it is enucleated. Enucleated means what? Means it does not have a nucleus. Okay. So just remember one thing. When these cells are in the process of formation, that time they do have a nucleus. Okay. But then when they are completely mature, that time they get enucleated. They become enucleated. That is, they don't have the nucleus then. Okay. It has 7 micron diameter and more the surface area. Okay. Now, if the cells are going to have more surface area, ठीक है, जितना वो flat होगा उतना उसका surface area ज़्यादा होगा, correct? So the more the surface area, more oxygen they can take up. ठीक है, cells, the more the surface area, the more the oxygen they can take up. Next is they can easily travel because they are very small. They can just squeeze in from anywhere and they can travel easily. Now, how many cells or how much is the number of these cells which is present? Okay. So it is about 5 million cubic mm in males and slightly less, you can say, in females. That is around 4.5 million in the females. Okay. Now these figures sometimes with books, with say different kinds of boards or different kinds of publications of books, these figures or these numbers might vary slightly. Okay, but then these are the standard figures. 5 million cubic mm is present in the males and 4.5 million is present in the females. Okay. Okay. Now lifespan of RBCs is nothing, not 1 plus 1 minus, it is 120 days. Okay, just remember this, lifespan of RBCs is 120 days. Okay, now where is it produced? So it is produced in the bone marrow of the long bones. Okay, just remember bone marrow of the long bones. Have a look at this. See how beautiful they look, don't they? You know, these cells resemble just like the donuts, you know, the donuts that we eat, you know, and they're the same. They are bulging at the periphery or at the marginal area. They are flat in the center. Now donuts will sometimes have a hole in the center, forget that. But periphery का उनका जो portion रहता है, that is just like this. Okay, I mean, it just came to my mind while seeing this. Okay, see how beautiful they look, don't they? Yes, human physiology is absolutely beautiful and very interesting if you really study it. Okay, so let's go ahead. Achha. What is hemoglobin? Okay, I think I've mistaken the spelling of hemoglobin here. It is H-A-E. Okay, H-A-E-M. Yes, here I've written it correctly. H-A-E-M. Yes. What is hemoglobin? Now, hemoglobin is a respiratory pigment present in a colorless spongy body or something known as the stroma. Okay. Now, this is a respiratory pigment. Just remember, just like chlorophyll is a respiratory pigment for plants, similarly, hemoglobin is a respiratory pigment for humans. Okay. What does it contains? Heme and globin, right? So, heme means iron and globin is a protein. Okay. So, iron is combined with a protein to form hemoglobin. Okay, and this hemoglobin will further combine with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. Now, when we keep doing these blood tests and all, right, so we check our hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the content of the respiratory pigment. Okay, see, ये blood cells hai, and hemoglobin is present within the red blood cells. Okay, each red blood cell contains several hundred million hemoglobin molecules which transport oxygen. ठीक है, हमने जो पढ़ा था that blood plays the function of transport. So उसमें hemoglobin will help the blood to do the transport of the oxygen gas. Now see, ये है पूरा hemoglobin molecule. ठीक है, oxygen is binding to the heme. ये जो heme है, that is iron. So this oxygen is going to bind to the iron on the hemoglobin molecule. Okay. That is hemoglobin. What are the WBCs? Okay, what are the white blood cells? They have a nucleus and they do not contain hemoglobin. Now see, this is going to be a major difference between the RBCs and the WBCs. Okay, RBCs are enucleated and they will contain hemoglobin, whereas WBCs, just give me a minute. Yes, okay. The white blood cells. Now the difference between WBCs and RBCs, right? So white blood cells are going to contain a nucleus. Okay? The RBCs are enucleated and they contain HB as we saw, whereas the white blood cells will not contain any hemoglobin. They are just going to be nucleated cells. Now the number is going to be around 4,000 to 8,000 per cubic mm. Okay? They have an amoeboid movement and they produce pseudopodia. Okay. Yes, children. Now can somebody tell me what is pseudopodia? We have gone through this. We've heard this term. It's a very common term. I'm sure all of you all have heard it. Yes. Yes. So pseudopodia are the organs of locomotion. Okay. These are the organs of locomotion which help the organism or say the cells to move, to cause any kind of movement. So they are known as pseudopodia. They can squeeze easily via diapedesis. Okay. Now what is diapedesis? White blood cells जब छोटी सी स्पेस में से squeeze in कर जाते हैं, that squeezing movement of the white blood cells is known as diapedesis. ठीक है, I'll show you probably a moving image if possible. What are the functions of the WBCs now? Phagocytosis, like we saw earlier, कैसे वो engulf करता है, हमने functions of blood में देखा था, right? So it is these white blood cells which engulf that bacteria and play the function of phagocytosis. Then inflammation and production of antibodies. Now, whenever we suffer from any infection or anything, so it is these white blood cells that are going to cause inflammation, or it is these WBCs that are going to send signal to us by causing inflammation. Inflammation is basically what? Swelling, any kind of swelling. Okay? So this causing of inflammation is basically a sign to us that the white blood cells inside our body are fighting against the virus or the problem that we are facing or any infection that is causing any kind of harm to us. Okay, and production of antibodies like we saw. Okay, now these white blood cells, okay, the WBCs have 5 types. Okay, now let's see those 5 types. Here, as you can see the 5 names. Let's see what are those. First one is the neutrophils. Where is the neutrophil here? Okay, it's here. Here is the neutrophil. Okay. Now, whenever you have a combination of many cells, now ये वाला जो pictures देख रहे हो ना, ये वाले ना, these are the pictures under the slide, under the microscope in a slide. These are the pictures. Okay, so these are microscopic pictures. That is why you can see these purple and red stains over here. ठीक है। सो न्यूट्रोफिल कैसे मेकआउट करते हो आप एक्चुअली माइक्रोस्कोप में, जब छोटे छोटे बहुत सारे सेल्स, व्हेन यू सी देम इन अ क्लस्टर, दैट इज व्हेन यू से दैट दीज आर न्यूट्रोफिल्स, ओके, बिकॉज दे आर प्रेजेंट इन द मेजॉरिटी अमाउंट, 62% ऑफ द WBCs आर न्यूट्रोफिल्स, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट इज द lymphocytes, किधर है lymphocyte, okay, here is the lymphocyte. Now see, lymphocyte is a big round cell with a big vacuole inside it, ठीक है, can you see this? This is the lymphocyte, which are about 30% present in the WBCs. Next is monocytes. Monocytes are present 3 to 5%. Where is the monocyte? Monocyte is again bigger than the lymphocyte, ठीक है, size में. Next is eosinophils. Now eosinophils are going to be present, like say you can say 2 to 3%, just 2 to 3%. Here is the eosinophil. If you see, the structure of eosinophil is little bit, you can say double shaped, slightly. It is slightly double shaped, or you can say bean shaped. If not double shaped, bean shaped. And last one is the basophils, which are hardly present. Hardly ekhada kabhi to you will see it in the slide. 0. That is why it is 0.4%. Here is the basophil. ठीक है, ये basophil, ये eosinophil. See, eosinophils are, basophils are slightly double shaped actually. Sorry, pardon me. Eosinophils are kidney shaped, or you can say bean shaped, like we can see here. ठीक है. So these 5 neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, and basophils are the 5 types of WBCs. ठीक है. These pictures that you are seeing over here, WBCs के, are the pictures of the microscope. On a microscopic examination, you will see them like this. ठीक है. Okay, now coming to platelets. Now, what are platelets and what are the amount of platelets that are present in the body? Platelets, like we saw, are also known as thrombocytes. Okay, so platelets are present. How many are there? So platelets are going to be around 2 to 4 lakhs per cubic mm that they are going to be present. They are again non-nucleated cells. They don't have a nucleus. The lifespan of platelets is about 3 to 5 days only. Okay, so every 3 to 5 days, these platelets are going to get destroyed and will form back again. And they are destroyed in the spleen. Okay, now they release thrombokinase, which helps in the clotting of blood. Okay, see, this is how the platelets. अभी तक हमने बहुत सारे pictures RBCs, WBCs के देखे. So this is the picture of how platelets look like. ठीक है? Yes. So now these platelets, majorly these platelet cells, you can say, are the kind of cells that help in clotting. Okay? So these are the cells, they release an enzyme known as thrombokinase. Now this enzyme helps in the clotting of blood. Okay? This is the major function of platelets. You can say that they help in the clotting of blood via the enzyme thrombokinase. See how these look like. छोटे छोटे finger like projections है उनके, that is their structure. It is not any kind of projection which is present there, but it is just a structure of platelets. ठीक है? Yes, so that is it for today's session. What we have seen in today's session is, firstly we have seen what is blood. ठीक है? Then what are the different components of blood. We saw that it consists of plasma and the cell, the cellular elements that we saw. Cellular elements में हमने देखा 3 types of cells are there. RBCs हैं, WBCs हैं, and platelets हैं. We also saw what is hemoglobin. Heme is iron, globin is protein. So iron binded to a protein will form hemoglobin. That complete hemoglobin molecule will basically play the function of absorbing oxygen. Okay, because oxygen will get combined with the heme which is present over there with iron. Okay, and we saw the different types of RBCs, the different types of WBCs as well. And in short, we saw the functions of all these cells. Okay, so now going further, in our next session, we will be seeing about what is exactly clotting. जो हमने अभी देखा, platelets help us in clotting. So now आगे we will see in the next session what is clotting. We will be studying more about what are different types of blood groups, what is blood transfusion. Like we've heard about all these terminologies regularly. So next session we will be dealing with all these terms. Okay, kids. So till then, please go through my first session. You all are going to really enjoy this part of human physiology. It's not boring like plant physiology. So we'll have fun doing this physiology thing. I'll try to get more of the moving images for you all so that it becomes easy for you all to memorize it when you see these kind of moving images. Okay. So I'll see you all soon with the next session of human physiology of the circulation. Okay. Chalo, I'll see you. Bye bye. When we